morning, everyone. So we are going to kickstart, you know, Apex programming. So basically, the session is going to be, for the beginners, those who doesn't know anything about Apex. So we are going to start the session from the scratch. From the scratch, in the sense, we will be teaching all the fundamentals, basics, and we will be giving, as Ashok told, we will be giving the hands-on session also. So before getting into what is mean by Apex and those things, ways of doing customization in Salesforce. Okay, in Salesforce, basically as an admin, you might be aware of creating objects, fields, and workflow process builders and flows. You might be pretty much comfortable with those things. Now it is time to do move a little bit further. That's towards the customization. Sometimes the requirement from the client may not be fulfilled by the built-in functionalities. Sometimes you may have to go for out of the box thinking, or out of the box functionalities. It means that the built-in Salesforce functionalities may not help because of the requirement from the client, and you have to go for customization. So that is called customization. Salesforce generally provides two ways of customization. One is point and click. Others, please mute. Okay, when you have any queries, you can unmute and you can ask. Okay. Okay, fine. So let me in a couple of people. Okay. So generally, customization may comes in two ways. One is a declarative way of customization, and another one is programmatic way of customization. Declarative way of customization, you might have aware of that workflow process builder, and in that flows is the king of customization in point and click. Okay, so a lot of functionalities can be easily implemented, out of the box functionalities, or the customization can be easily done through a declarative way. That is workflow, process builder, and flows. Okay, sometimes even though you can do plenty of things in declarative way, that may not be sufficient. Okay, so in that scenarios, programmatic way of customization comes into the picture. If you are familiar with programmatic way of customization, customizing the requirements, customizing the Salesforce functionalities, it will be pretty much handful to solve the requirement of the client. Someone is raising the hand. Yes, Lokesh, do you have any queries? Okay, fine. Okay, so in these sessions, from today onwards, we are going to do the customization. We are going to practice how to do the customization through Apex. Okay. Okay. Why to need code when customization is available with point and click? Why I have to write code in Salesforce? Okay. Let's say sometimes you may have to create some custom components. Components in the sense, a Salesforce is generally a single page application. Let's see, this is a single page application. Okay, so in this single page application, sometimes you may have to create your own components. Let's say this is a single page application. In the single page application, in the left hand side, you can able to see a couple of items. In the right hand side, you can able to see the header. You can able to see different parts. So in real time, you may consider this as a single page application. What is meant by single page application? In a single page application, different components form the page. Let's say get started with Einstein boards. It may be a separate component. It may be called as a separate component. Mobile publisher, it's a separate component. From end user perspective, from a user perspective, we call it as a page. Okay, but as a developer, we know that yes, this is a page, but this page contains different components. Let's say at the bottom, mostly reason used, this is a list. It may be a separate component. Okay, so to create these kinds of components, you have to use Apex. Okay, so that is called customization. Sometimes the requirement comes into the picture that you have to create a list with a drop down. In the right hand side, you need a drop down. So for that, there may not be a built-in functionality available. At that point of time, you may go for customization. So that is called custom component customization and automation. Let's say some email service or some external service communication integration. Let's say I wanted to see the weather information. Is it possible in Salesforce directly to see the weather information of your city? No. At that point of time, you have to connect with external systems. Okay, because let's say there are plenty of weather information websites available, services available. At that point of time, you have to connect your Salesforce application to the external application, and you have to fetch the information and show it to the user. So at that point of time, your point and click things cannot be useful. At that point of time, you will obviously going for Apex to create custom automation and complex validation. Already in Salesforce, you may aware that there are plenty of validation rules you can able to write. Okay, but complex validation, let's say there is a scenario comes into the picture. Before inserting a record into the account, you have to check that the name should not be exist with the same mobile number. That is the validation. So these kinds of validations are custom validations which cannot be completed, which cannot be fulfilled using your validation rule. At that point of time, you have to go for complex validation implementation. In those scenarios, your Apex will be very much handy. And complex business requirements, let's say when every day is at 7 p.m. some email should goes. Okay, so that email should goes, but the email body should be a combination of different information from various objects. In those scenarios, you need to implement your complex business requirement. So these all are different scenarios where Apex will be comes into the picture. So as I told, just I am revising it. As I told, customization can be possible in two ways. One is a declarative way, and another one is through programmatic way. But I told the difference also. In declarative way, you have some kind of limitations. You cannot go beyond that. If you want to stretch your application, apart from your limitations of declarative way, you will be obviously opting for programmatic Apex. So any doubts here so far here? Anyone? If no doubts, we'll move on.
Just have a doubt regarding the automation.
Yeah, please.
The second point.
Yeah, what's your doubt? Please go.
Why we need the programming for the automation?
Yeah, let's say there is a simple email message. Simple email message you can implement using workflow rule, right? So at that point of time, you have to do a couple of validations and you have to fetch records from different information, and then you have to send an email message. And one more, scenario I explained. Let's say there is a weather information. You want to fetch weather information, or let's say a stock price. Okay. So you are doing a Salesforce application to show the current stock prices of, let's say, BSE or NSE, National Stock Exchange, whatever it may. At that point of time, you have to do some kind of automation, you have to write a program which will automatically fetch the information. Let's say today markets open sharply at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, most of the investors will come in the 10 o'clock, and there will be, a swing will start at 10 o'clock. I wanted to show, a couple of stock information automatically in the screen. If that is the case, your Salesforce Apex code should connect with an external system. It should fetch the information and it show the stock prices in the screen. If that is the case, you have to go for automation with customization, because you will not click anything. Automatically it should show the price. Okay, you will not enter stock price, stock name or something, because you might have your list. So from your own list of stocks, it will automatically fetch the information and show you it in your code. So that is called an example for automation. Am I clear with your query?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Is it like scrapping those information from other?
Yeah, generally we call it as an automation. It might not be, needs to be a scrapping. You are telling about web scrapping, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's not meant by web scraping. If they are providing a web service in the sense, they will be
Okay.
giving you an endpoint. You can directly connect with the endpoint and you will be getting the data. When
Okay.
you will go for scrapping in the sense, let's say endpoint is not provided. Okay, let's say the stock exchange is not providing you the endpoint. If that is the case, you will be going for a scrapping. Okay.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Ashok. Sorry to interrupt, Nagaraj. To everyone in this session, kindly note down all your queries because it is not all the participant in this sessions are having the same level of understanding. Some people are from absolutely from non-technical background. So what we have decided is let the trainer to go with their flow, and he's going very slow and he's going to take each and every parts with absolutely in slow pace. So to make sure everyone have a good understanding on all the concepts. So at any point of time, if you have any queries, kindly note it down, okay? And we will be having a dedicated question session. In that session, we will check with the trainer and we'll get a complete clarification. Even if you want the trainer, right, go from the beginning, right? We are going to do that. So it's not like we are not going to answer your question. The reason why we are not going to interfere with the trainer is the people who joined here there are many people who are completely from non-technical background. If we started asking with our own queries and if we started go with a quite advanced thing, right, there is a chance it will get a fear in their mind. So to avoid that and eradicate that, and we are going to record this session. There are few people who are not going to join this session. They are going to watch this video in later point of time. To avoid any interruption, right? Let the trainer go with their flow. Absolutely, we are going to give you all a question hour, a question session. Okay. Until then, kindly note down your queries, maybe slide 1, MVC. Note down your queries. During the question session, right? We will definitely clarify all your queries. So thanks everyone for your cooperation. Nagarajan, please proceed.
Yeah, thanks, Ashok. Okay, fine. So now we are moving on to the software architecture pattern. Okay. So as far as software architecture pattern is concerned, every programming language will have its own architecture pattern. Okay. So Salesforce, it's following a similar kind of architecture called MVC, model view control architecture. Let's say initially these jargons might looks like something different. As the days progress, you will be used to it. Okay, it may not be the initial days. Let's say today it's day one you are seeing it on MVC. You might be from a different a non-technical background. You might be thinking that, oh my god, what this guy is telling, it's MVC, what is mean by MVC? Different new things it's coming up. So will Apex will suits me. Okay, believe me, it's very easy to learn programming. Only thing is you should have the passion to learn, and the time you spend in front of your system. Definitely, Apex is no more a fear factor for you, I guess. Okay, so as Ashok told, we'll be there to support you, so don't worry about that. So model view control architecture. So while seeing this jargons, it maybe looks something different, model view control architecture, but you might be day-to-day life when you are dealing with Salesforce, you might be feeling this. Let's say this is your Salesforce application. This is your Salesforce application. What all of the things currently you are seeing in your screen is called view. Okay, the user, what he sees in his screen. Okay, you are not a developer. Okay, consider that you are a user, you logged in into Salesforce. What all are the things you are seeing in your screen is called a view. Let's say left hand side there is a scroll bar, right hand side there is a create button. So these all are called views. When you click these views, some action will going to happen, right? So something behind the scene will be waiting there for you to click any one of this particular controls or any of the component. Once you click that control or when you click this component, behind the scene someone is waiting. They will accept your process, and they will accept your request, and they will process and deliver the next thing. Let's say if I am going to click a create, in the sense, when I click this create button, there are a lot of items are popped up. When I click user, in the sense, automatically user creation comes into my screen. Again, this is a view. Okay, this is called view. Okay, so that is called view. Whatever the user seeing in his screen is called view. Okay, further dig into the view. How you will create a view? That is what the next question, how you will create a view in Salesforce. Generally in Salesforce, the views are created using, Visual Force pages or Aura component or LWC, Lightning Web Components. So you even flows, you can consider screen flows also. Okay. So generally views in the sense, what all are the items user going to see in your screen is called views. Let's say this may be a Visual Force page, who knows? Okay, because it's a built-in functionality available. So when you click new users, something is going to open in your screen. So generally this is a view, but to build the view, you need some technology or some concept used by Salesforce to create the view. Okay, so those are called as VF pages. It may be a Visual Force page, or it may be an Aura component, or it may be a Lightning Web component, or it may be an screen flow. So if you know Visual Force page or Aura component or LWC, what you can do is you can create beautiful views for your end user. Let's say end user may like, your client may asking something like this: I want a button in the right hand side, I want a drop down in the left hand side. Okay, 4 buttons should be in the right hand side. If that may be the requirement, in the sense you will be satisfy those requirements with your views. Okay, next comes your main area called model. Model is nothing, it's an objects. You might be familiar. Let's say account is an object. Contact is an object. Okay, opportunity is an object. So inside the object, what you will be having, inside the object you will be having fields in the sense, let's say name, city. Okay, so those are called as fields and relationships. So generally speaking, model refers object. Okay, so model refers object. And next part is very, very important. This is called controller. This will be playing the middle part. See here in the picture, you can able to easily identify that model resides in between view, controller should be reside between view and model. Okay, because your controller will get the information from the user and pass it to your database or pass it to your model, process the data and give the output to the user. Okay, let's come here. This is a user creation page. Okay, so if I am going to input something, okay, my first name, last name, and the username, password, except password, you will be filling up all the things. When you click a save, a controller will be automatically process this information. Okay, so when the user input given to the controller will process it. Let's say for user, there might be an object called user object in Salesforce. Actually Salesforce runs everything in terms of objects. Let's say if it is a user, in the sense, there will be definitely an object. If it is a kind of data, it will be stored in the objects. Let's say permissions, let's say your settings, let's say your OWD settings, everything is being stored in Salesforce in objects only. Okay, so whatever the user is going to give as an input, it will be straightly go to the controller. Your controller will save your data or process your data, and again it will get back to the user with the required information. So this is what model view control architecture. I hope it might be pretty much clear to you. If you have still queries, you can note it out at the last 10 minutes. We can have the discussion regarding your doubts, or in the separate session we can have it. Okay, so again repeating, model stands for objects, and view is generally the UI part. And controller, why I am stressed about controller is, this is the area where you will be implementing your business logic. Let's say when the user is going to give the username and his email ID, a user needs to be created. So those logics, that is called business logic. Okay, let's say I want to find out a city based all account information. So user will be selecting the city. When he click the button, automatically all the information should be pulled from the model and should be shown in the UI. So you will be writing everything in Apex in the controller. So in the MVC architecture, where your Apex will be comes into the picture, Apex will be comes into the picture in the controller. You will be writing all your business logics in the controller. So that's why Apex programming is pretty much important to do the customization. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Nagarajan. So, guys, anybody have any question from this slide? Okay, we'll take this as no. Okay, thank you. Move on to the next.
Ashok, quick question. After this class, will you send the day one PDF which you shared?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone. Yeah, move on to the next slide, Nagarajan, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so in the next slide, as I told, model view control architecture, more detailed information will be available in the model. Okay, I'm not going into the model, pretty much because I already explained a lot. As far as view is concerned, let's say from the declarative perspective, if you see that view in the sense, it may be a page layout, or it may be a lightning page. So that is also a view. Okay, from a programmatic way, you may call it view as visual force page or a components, as we discussed. As far as controller, where we will be implementing our business logic, right? So the controller, from declarative way of programming, declarative in the sense you will not write a single piece of code. So even Salesforce is also encouraging more no code, moving towards no code. So no code in the sense you will be using workflow rule, process builder, or flows. So you will be implementing your business logic there. Okay, at the next level, higher level, you will be trying to implement your business logic in coding format. So there comes the Apex classes and your trigger. So ultimately you will be developing your business logic either using declarative or programmatic way. Okay, let's move on. How Apex work? I'm coming into the concept of how Apex work. Let's say if you are a user, you have to write a simple Apex program. In the sense, you will be writing your Apex program in your system. Let's say you are the developer, so you will be writing your program in your system. After writing the program, you will save your Apex code. Okay, so until that point of time, the code will be in your system memory. Okay, the code will be in your system memory. It will not be saved with the Salesforce server. Okay, once you save the program, automatically the code will be saved into your Salesforce server. Okay, that is called force.com platform. Okay, but before that, what happens is the force.com platform will try to check your program, whether your program contains any errors or not. If your program contains any errors, okay, it will send you the information that, see guys, these all are the lines you have errors, please correct it. So till that point of time, your code will not be saved. So when you are going to write your program, unless your program does not contain any errors, then only the code will be saved with your server. This process is called a compilation. Okay, compilation in the sense, it's pretty simple thing. The computers will understand basically the machine level language, right? It will not understand high level programming language. It will not understand English. It will understand binary language, that is 1001. That will be understand by the sorry, by your computers. So there should be some software, there will be some software which will convert your high level language into machine level language. That process is called compilation. Okay, so when you save your Salesforce program, Apex program, the program will be tried to convert into machine level language. At that point of time, if it finds any errors, it will tell you that these all are the errors, please clear it. This is called compiler errors. Okay, this is called compiler errors. So as a developer, you will be sorry, you will be clearing these errors, and after that you will be save your program into your server. So from developer perspective, that is done. So that is what explained here. You will be developing your Salesforce code and you will be saving it into your Salesforce platform. Now your code will save into your salesforce.com server, force.com platform, that is your server. It will be in the server. Let's say there is a user comes into salesforce.com, and he is trying to click a button. At that point of time, your code will be executed. That is taken care by a special software called a runtime. So generally Apex will contains a compiler and a runtime environment. So whenever you save your program, next time when the user comes and he sends a request, your program will be run by the runtime and the desired output will be goes to the user. So this is how the Apex will work. So as a developer, what you will be doing, you will be writing your program and you will be saving your code. Automatically the code will be saved with the server. Next time the user will comes, okay, it's a multi-tenant architecture. There may be, a single user, or there may be thousands of users comes into your server and comes into your application, and they may send a request, and each one will be satisfied with your, with your compiled Salesforce code. So this is how the program, process. So as I told, compilation, it's not a big deal. It is just converting the high level language into machine level language. Okay, so this is how Apex work. Quickly, any doubts here? In the sense, we can go for it. Otherwise, we will move on to the next.
Yeah, I have a question. Like whatever we are writing in Apex is a high level language, not directly a machine level language, right?
It's not a machine level language because we are writing it in English, right? So whatever you are writing, it's a high level language.
Yeah, thanks.
That's fine.
Hello, sir. What's the use of the Apex runtime?
Yeah. Yes, please.
What is the use of Apex runtime?
Yeah, Apex runtime, when there is a request comes in, something will be there to serve the compiled code, right? That will be taken care by the Apex runtime. Okay, every time it will not compile. Once a developer saves his code, if there is no error, it will be compiled. And after every request, the request will be served by the runtime environment. That is the software. Okay.
If any user can adjust the runtime environment, am I right? If the code doesn't have any error, any user can adjust the runtime.
Yeah, it's a behind the scene running concept. Behind the scene, whatever the request comes in, the request will be served through the Apex runtime environment. User may not aware of that. Okay, so runtime is just serving the compile code. That's it. Simply.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. So next, we will be moving on to the next concept called building blocks of Apex. Okay, rather than just binding it, just with Apex, you can generally call it as any programming language. Okay, so any programming language, not with Apex, it may be it may be a C#, or it may be a Java, or it may be any programming language, any JavaScript things, whatever it may be. So generally, programming languages implement the business logic using these building blocks. Okay, these all are the building blocks available with programming language. Let's say data types and variables. What is meant by data types? In the sense, everything we are inputting is called as data. Let's say you are going to create a user. Okay, while creating the user, you will be inputting the first name, last name. These all are called a data. Okay, but this data might vary in its format. Let's say if it is a first name, in the sense it's a group of characters, so it is called a data type of string. So that is called data type. Let's say here this is a checkbox may be a true or false. Okay, it's a different data type, true or false. It can be called as a Boolean type. Let's say there is a phone number, I will be inputting the phone number in numbers. Okay, so in real time, all the information what we are processing may fall under a data type. Okay, so that is called a data type. So in each and every programming language, you will be having a different data types. Data types in the sense the format or the format of the data. Next part is variable. Okay, this is what we will be seeing today, how to create a variable and how to process it. So next one is variables. What is meant by variables? In mathematics, you might be simply seeing that x plus y is equal to something. You may solving an equation. In that equation, after writing the equation, what you will be doing, for x you may be substituting 2, for y you may be substituting y. So what is the purpose of this x and y? X and y are the placeholders. If you pass 5 to x, 5 will be substituted with x. Wherever you are using x, in all the places, this x will be replaced with 5. Okay, so that is called variables. Okay, variables are used to store the data. Okay, so whenever you want to use that data, you have to specify the variable. Automatically you can be substituted with that value. So it may change its value. So that's why it is called variable. Today's class, we will be seeing, how to create a variable, how to store your data. Okay. So in the upcoming classes, we will be seeing the building blocks one by one, because we are going to teach it from the scratch. So we are going to see it one by one. Okay, as slowly we will be moving towards the other versions. And then conditional statements. What is meant by conditional statements? Someone is asking you, someone is telling a business logic. Let's say you have to, you have to update the data only if the price is greater than 500. There is a requirement. If the price is greater than 500, then only you have to update the data. If that is the case, you will be checking something. Okay, when you are going to check something in your programming language, that is called conditional statement. Okay, so those who have from the background might aware that it is called if. Those who are from non-background, don't take it up now. Just to listen to it. Conditional statement is you are checking something. That is called conditional statement. And looping statements. Let's say you have 10 phone numbers. Okay, let's say you have 10 phone numbers. You have to traverse one by one. You have to go first phone number. I have to pick the first number, do something. I have to pick the second phone number, do something. Third phone number, do something. The do something is common for all the phone numbers. So some statement needs to be executed common for 10 phone numbers. If that is the case, you will be doing the looping. Instead of writing again and again, you will be going for looping statements. So what is the advantage of having looping statements? Instead of writing the same statements again and again, you can go for your loop. It will reduce the number of statements. So these are the main building blocks, okay, to implement your business logic. Apart from that, each programming language will have its own data structures. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate into data structures now. We will see that data structures and functions and classes are called as object oriented programming. We won't mess it up with this, these concepts today itself. Okay, because a lot of non-background people might be there. Okay, so these all are the building blocks of any programming language. If you, my personal opinion, if you learn any single programming language, you can learn any programming language in the world. Okay, that's a damn sure. I'm pretty much confident about that. These all are the building blocks. If you are strong with your business logics and you are strong with the fundamentals, you can learn any programming language. It's not only limited with Apex. Anything you can able to learn. Okay, let's move on. In the building blocks, we are going to see the first building block, that is data types and variables. Okay, fine. So as far as data types is concerned, generally it is called primitive data types. There is no need to get into primitive now. Just to consider numbers. Okay, if you are going to store the numbers, in the sense numbers may be the whole number or it may be a fraction number. Okay, so that is called integer. Integer in the sense, if you are going to store the whole number, let's say 10 or let's say 50, I want to store 10 or 50 in my program. In the sense, the data type I will be preferring will be integer. Let's say there is a fraction 20.50, 100.80. If that is the case, I will be going for the data type called a double. Okay, in integer also there may be some limitations. Let's say up to 50,000 only you can able to store in integer. If that is the case, if you want to 1 lakh, you will be going for long. It's just an example I'm giving, right? So integer and long, both of them can be used to store whole numbers. Then what is the difference between these two? The difference is, maximum amount of value you can able to store in these two things. Okay, and next one is date. Date in the sense, it will not cover time, so purely you can able to store a date only. Today's date I want to store. If that is the case, you will be going for date. I want to store the date with time. If that is the case, you will be going for date and time. I want to store my city name, or I want to store my name, okay, or customer name. If that is the case, you will be going for a string data type. Okay, ID. Okay, this is a special data type, ID. ID in the sense, you may know that in Salesforce, each and every record will contain a unique ID. So if you want to store that record ID into your variable, you will be going for the data types called ID. Okay, and true or false. Let's say there is a checkbox. Checkbox will generally a true or false category. Okay, it may be checked or may not be checked. So that is called Boolean. So these all are the primitive data types. Okay, so initial stage we will be dealing with these data types. Okay, and after that you can go for collections. Collections in the sense, in Salesforce, you will be using collections to, to store a bunch of records. You can take it in that way. Okay. If it is a group of records, let's say in account object, I am having 100 records. I want to store these 100 records in my Apex code. Okay. If that is the case, you can't use integer because it is not a single value. You can't go for double because it is not a fractional value. It is a group of, information, group of records. If that is the case, you will be choosing either list, set, or map. There is a difference between these three also. We will see it one by one later. So generally these data types are called as collections. Okay, these data types are called as collections. And there is a one more special data type called S object. Okay, see, S object. Account is a standard object, right? If you are going to store a single record, in the sense you will be storing it into S object. Let's say contact. In the contact, I want to store a single contact record information along with columns, along with fields. Let's say name. Okay, city. I want to store, in the sense you will be going for S object. S object is a universal data type. In S object, you can store account, you can store contact, you can store opportunity. Okay, so any objects it can accommodate. So that is what the advantage of having a S object. Okay, so this is, I am talking about a single record. If it is a group of records, in the sense you will be combining this list with S object and you will be storing it. Okay, so we will see it one by one, so there is no hurry as of now. Enumerations, don't concentrate on this enumeration as of now. It's a set of constants forms this enumeration. We will see later. Okay, now as a first step, we are going to see how to declare a variable, how you will declare a variable in Apex. Okay, so before seeing how to declare a variable, where you will write the code, all those things, we are going to see it now practically. Okay, so initially you have to specify the data type. Let's say I want to store 10 in my Apex program. I have to store 10 in my Apex program. So how I will write? Initially you have to check your data. What is your data? 10 is my data. Okay, classify 10 with these things. Whether your 10 is a Boolean, no. It is a string, no. It is a date, no. It is a long, you can store it in a long or integer. It's better initially go with integer. It is not a decimal value. So I will be going for integer. So you have to store the data 10. So initially you have to concentrate on what type of data now you are going to handle. You are going to handle 10. Classify, okay, under which data type it will suits. It will suits in integer. So I have to specify integer. And then comes the variable name. Let's say it's a mark. It may be a mark. Okay, you are storing a mark. If that is the case, you will be specifying integer mark is equal to 100, 80, 90. In this way, you will be storing your value. Okay, so no more theoretical way. Let's quickly jump into practical way of how you can able to create an Apex code. So initially, when you have to write your Apex code, in the sense you will be going for at the top there is a gear icon will be there. Able to see this at the top, you will be seeing a gear icon. Click that. Once you click that, you will be seeing a option called developer console. Click that, developer console. Immediately a window will pop up in your screen. So immediately a window will pop up in your screen. So let's see, this might be, this is your code environment. This is the environment where you will be writing your code. Okay, so I'm closing it and opening it again. You can able to have a clear picture once again. I'm going to click this setup. I'm going for developer console. Once I click this, automatically your window will open up. Okay, so what all are the things I'm seeing in my screen is the code which I had written previously, where automatically will comes up you can able to clear it up by saying this. Okay. As a first step, you are not going to write anything. Straight away, we are going to a rough note. Okay. In Salesforce, you know, for a developer, you have a rough note that is called, you know, anonymous window. Let's straight away go for a debug. Okay. At the top in the debug, you will be having an option called open execute anonymous window. And the shortcut is Control E. If you click Control E, you will be directly redirected. Okay. So this is the previous code written here. So you can clear this. Okay. This is called anonymous window. Okay. Let's say I referred it as a rough note because as a developer in some scenarios, you know, before implementation, you wanted to see what might be the output or what will be the outcome. You wanted to see in that way. Okay. So before implementation, once, you know, before implementation, without testing the code, if you are going to implement something, in the sense the user may end up with some wiredy or messy things, right? So it's better to always check your code. Okay. If that is the case, you can try with your anonymous window. Whatever you write here, you can execute, and the output will be shown only to the developer, not the end user. Okay, so that is what anonymous window. And here in the anonymous window, I'm going to declare a variable. So what is the syntax for declaring a variable? As I told, first it should be a data type. Okay, let's say I have to store my mark. So my mark is a whole number. So I'm going to type integer. Okay, integer. What is the variable name? The variable name I have to store mark. So I'm going to give mark is equal to, let's say mark is 80. Okay, and then I am putting a semicolon. Okay, I'm putting a semicolon. You have to keep this in mind that each and every line in Apex should ends with semicolon. Each and every line should ends with semicolon. Okay, fine. So this is how you can declare a variable in Salesforce Apex. Okay, data type, variable name equal to some value. Okay, now I want to print this value in the screen. I want to print this value. I have to check that whether the mark really contains 80. I have a doubt in my mind. I have to confirm that whether it is really contains 80. If that is the case, there is a option called debug. Okay, you can debug in the sense of nothing fancy here. Just you are going to print the value of your variable. So I'm going to give like this. Please mute your mic. If you have any queries, please unmute and you can go for it. Let me go for system.debug. Okay, so automatically you see here when I start typing debug, okay, when I start typing debug, I can able to see that the full syntax is available now. This is called IntelliSense editor. Okay, actually IntelliSense in the sense nothing, you know, technical terms. This Salesforce editor is intelligent enough to suggest you, hey, guy, you may be trying for a deep. One second. Okay, fine. So the IntelliSense editor, in the sense, it is, you know, it is pretty much intelligent enough to say you that, hey, you may be trying with the system.debug. So this is the syntax. You can get the syntax from me. So it is clear that there is no need to mark up everything in our mind. Okay, so system.debug. What I want to print, I want to print my variable called mark. Okay, I want to print the variable called mark to see the outcome. So I'm going to specify the variable name mark. Okay, fine. So I had returned simply 2 lines of code. One is just declared a variable, and the second line is I am printing it in my screen to see what the outcome. Okay, now you have to execute this program. Just writing 2 lines of code will not give you the output. You have to execute that, then only you will get the output. Now I am going to execute this line. Execute in the sense I'm going to, you know, make these 2 lines to run and show me the output. For that, in the anonymous window, you will be having 2 options called execute and execute highlighted. If you highlight a line, and if you go for execute highlighted, in the sense only that particular line will get executed and you will get the output. Okay, without selecting these 2 things, you know, simply if you are going for execute, in the sense, you know, only the lines which are available here will be get executed. If you highlighted and go for execute highlight, only that particular line. If you don't highlight anything, simply clicking execute, all the lines will be get executed. Okay, so okay, fine. Let's execute and see. I'm going to execute this. Okay, so when I try to execute, this program will start executing. To see the output, you have to go for a window at the bottom called logs. Let me execute it. Let me execute it. It's finished. It's executed. But you will not see the output in the screen. To see the output, you have to go for a log here. You see here at the bottom left hand side, there is a tab called logs. I clicked it. I can able to see something in the screen. Okay, so we will see this deeper at the later stages. I am just clicking it. I'm just double clicking it. Okay, let's see what's coming up in the screen. You will be seeing, plenty of operations. These all are the operations done by Salesforce to execute your 2 lines of code. Let's see, to execute these 2 lines of code, when you click this button, Salesforce behind the scene doing plenty of operations, and it is generating the output. Your output will be inside this, inside this log. It may be some of the lines inside that. To see that, you can click, there is a checkbox called debug only. At the checkbox called debug only. If you click that, now you will get your system.debug. What all are the lines written inside system.debug? If you want to see that line only, in the sense, you have to select the checkbox called debug only. If you remove the checkbox, all the outputs will be there. So at present, there is no need to concentrate what each and every line. Okay, now I am interested only with my system.debug. So I'm going for debug only. I can able to see the output as 80 here. Okay, so let me close this. If you don't want to see this anymore, you can close this. Okay, again I'm going to run it. So each and every time when you execute it, automatically a new process will happen, and you can see the new process here. You can click that. Okay, which is the new process? Sometimes that may be a confusion comes into your mind. Okay, so you can identify 750, that was the first one. 752, so obviously this is the latest one. You can double click it and you can select this debug only. Now you can able to see the output, and instead of every time you have to click here and to see the output, at the bottom in the anonymous window, you see there is a checkbox called open log. I'm selecting it. Okay, I'm selecting this. Now I am going to check. I'm going to execute this line. Execute. Okay, let's see. Now I can able to see the screen directly. So previously what I did was, I have to come here, I have to double click this log, then only the screen will comes into the picture, right? Now what I did was, I selected this open log. So whenever I'm trying to click the execute button, automatically the log will be opened in my screen. So there is no need to worry about which is the latest log I have to see. Just what you have to do is simply select debug only. You can able to see the output system.debug here. Okay, so this is how you can play with your initial stages with this anonymous window. It is similar to a rough note. You can write you are not sure about your business logic, you can write your business logic and you can check it out whether your business logic comes clearly or not. Okay, so till this particular point, any doubt in the window or something? Anything?
Yeah, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please.
So say for example, if we have two anonymous windows, like for now you have one log, right? So
Okay.
I'm opening one more. Okay, so one more anonymous window. I'm writing some script over there. So I'm getting
Okay.
log while
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to open one more anonymous window. Debug. Okay. One more anonymous window is not coming up. Okay. You will get one more anonymous window. What you can do is, you can go for developer console. There is only chances you can go for one more developer console, not one more anonymous window.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. So these all are the researches you can able to do. When you are given an assignment, instead of asking this, you can try these kinds of researches. Okay, so it will give you more idea. Okay.
Sure.
And Nagarajan, I have a doubt.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, in system.debug, mark is the variable we are providing, right?
Yes.
So, like, is only the variable we give in the brackets, like how are we going to search? Can you please give an other example instead of?
Okay, okay, fine. So
No,
let
by
me,
default, I want to know like what should be given in the place of system.debug.
okay, fine. So, okay, fine, thanks. Let me move on. So this is an integer variable, and as the data type, as we already discussed, it may be a double, or it may be a boolean, right? So let me go for one more variable, double. Okay, double percentage. I'm giving a variable called double percentage. Percentage is equal to, let's say, 56.7. So this is what the percentage. Now you can see this is a whole number, so I went for integer. This is a decimal value, I'm going for double. Okay, so now I have to display the value. So before going for system.debug, what a system.debug can do, system.debug can print which variable you are specifying inside the bracket. Now I have two variables, mark as well as percentage. Which one you are interested in? You are interested in seeing the output of mark, you will be going for mark. If you are interested in seeing the percentage value, you will be going for percentage. That's it. It's pretty simple. No, I am interested in both the things. What I can do as a beginner, you can do like this. Okay, system.debug, you can go for mark also. Okay, so now as the first line you will be seeing the mark, second line you will be seeing the percentage. Let's execute and see what happens. Okay, let's execute. I have executed. Okay, as usual, all the logs dumped. I am interested with only my system.debug. I'm clicking it. See here, you have two system.debug. One is mark. What is the mark? 80. That is printed in the first line. And the second one is percentage, 56.7. And that is printed here. Okay. So let's say one more variable. I'm going for a variable called string. String name. Name is equal to, I'm going for, like this, AJ skill. Each and every line should ends with semicolon. Okay, now I have to print the name also. So I'm going to print as the first line, I'm going to print name. So what the variable you are interested, what you want to see as an output, you can specify. It is not mandatory that three variables are declared, so I have to use three system.debug. It is not like that. Okay, so this is called business logic. Whatever thing you are interested, you will be going for it. If I execute this, I will see, one more debug log. If I go for debug only, I can able to see all these values. AJ skill, that is the name, I can able to see. Mark, I can able to see. Percentage, I can able to see. Okay, fine. So we are moving on to the next thing. Next thing is, let's say, if you want to add two numbers, let's say this is mark 1 and one more mark called mark 2. Let's say mark 2. So you want to add these two values. If that is the case, what you can do is simply how you will add two values? By giving plus sign, right? So I'm going to give mark 1 plus mark 2. Okay, let's see what the output is. Let's execute and see. See here, 160. Why? 80 plus 80, 160. If you give 50 in the sense, you will be getting 130. So this is how you can do arithmetic operation. What all are the arithmetic operations available? You can add two numbers, you can subtract any numbers, you can multiply. To multiply, you have to give star. Okay, you can divide the numbers. So these all are the arithmetic operation. If you give, asterisk here, these two mark 1, mark 2 will be, multiplied, and the answer will be in the screen. Okay.
Okay.
Any doubts here?
No, thank you.
Can we concatenate the results?
Yeah, that's what I'm going for the next one. Yeah.
Answer is wrong, right? 80 plus 50 is
just now I changed it into 50. I haven't run this. Okay. So previously it was 80 plus 80. So that's why you're seeing it as an 160. After changing the value, I haven't clicked execute. Okay, let's move on to the concatenation part. So the plus, yes, let me finish this and then you can go for your doubts. Okay, let's see plus. If you use the plus between two numbers, that is an arithmetic operation. If you use the plus between two strings, let's say string 1 and string 2. If you are using like this plus will now called as concatenation operator. Concatenate in the sense it will join two things. Let's see in detail. Let's say this is name 1. I'm going to declare it as name 1. In the second line, I'm going to give it as name 2. Okay, I'm giving it as development, skill development. Fine. Now I'm going to give it a system.debug. I'm going to add name 1 plus name 2. If it is two integers, these two values will be summed up and you will end up with the output. Now this name 1 and name 2, two things are string variables. Let's see what the output is. Let's execute. See here what the output, AJ skill development, right? So again AJ skill development is there. If I remove this AJ skill here and if I execute again, you will end up with this. You will end up with proper AJ skill development, as you will see it as a single word here. Let me go for debug. See here, I am as the from the output you can see it as AJ skill development, but in the program it is in two variables. Why there is no space? If you want a space, you can give a space here, or you can give a space here also. Okay, so between two strings, if you put a plus, it will add these two strings and it will display as a single string, as a single word. It will add two words and it will display as a single word. If you put a plus between two numbers, it will do the mathematical operation, that is arithmetic operation, and you will be getting as an output. Let's say I want to display like this. This double slash, this is called comment in the sense this line will not get executed. You can use it for your reference. I want to print like this, name is equal to AJ skill, AJ skill. Okay, let's stop it here. Name is equal to AJ skill. This is what I want. I don't want simply AJ skill. If that is the case, you have to analyze here. Okay, name equal to, that is a word. Whatever word you want to display on the screen, you have to put it within the single quotes. What I want to see in my screen as name is equal to. Okay, that is fine. Name is equal to what I want the value inside name variable. So I'm going to give it as name 1. Now what will happen? This word within single quotes will be displayed as it is. So you will see name is equal to. Okay, and what is in the right hand side? It is a variable. So if you are going to merge two variables, in the sense you will be putting a plus symbol, that is called concatenation. This is called concatenation. If you are putting this plus between two integers, that is not concatenation, you are going to add. Okay, so in the left hand side there is a data type, right hand side there is a data type, string data type. You are putting a plus in the sense it is a concatenation. So let's see the output here. Let's run and execute and see what the outcome is. So if I go for a debug only, I'm seeing the output as name is equal to AJ skill. So name is a word, so it is printed as it is. Okay, and then a concatenation operator going to happen. It is going to concatenate with a variable. What is the variable? Variable is name 1. What the name 1 contains? It contains AJ skill. So obviously the output will be name is equal to AJ skill. Okay. So I'm going to stop the session today here, and I'm going to give you a program for practice. You can try these things. Okay. Yeah, you can try these things. Any doubts here, in the sense you can go for it. Otherwise, let's note it down the first program. Okay. So this is what the program you are going to do now. Okay, you have to declare two integer variables. How you will declare two integer variables? Already we have practiced. Okay, mark 1, mark 2. So this is called declaring a variable. So you are going to declare two variables with values 20 and 10. What you are going to do? You have to find sum and you have to display the output. You have to find subtract and you have to display the output. You have to multiply and you have to display the output. You have to divide and you have to print the output. That's fine. How the output should be? You can try different ways of printing the output. First, As a first step, what you can do is just to simply see the output. Okay, 20 plus 10, system.debug 20 plus 10, what you will get? 30. So next, I want the output as sum is equal to 30. How I want the output? I want the output should be sum is equal to 30. If you tried with this, you got the output in the sense, next format you can go for. What I want as my output, sum of x comma y. Let's say x is equal to 20, you stored as x is equal to 20, y is equal to 10. So you want the output as sum of x comma y is equal to 30. And the final one, if you are pretty much clear with this, you can go for the next one. Instead of x and y, I want the output as sum of 10 and 20. Instead of x and y, the values should be displayed here and the addition should be in the right hand side. So I want to display the answers in these formats. Okay, so please note it down. You can start practicing this program. Okay, you can start practicing this program. This PDF is available for you for your reference in the in the drive. Here, how to declare a variable, everything is there in the PDF itself. You can go through it and you can start practicing it. Okay, so if you have any doubts in the sense, you can go for it now.
Nagarajan, this
Yes.
is not a doubt. Do we get recording by the end of
Yes,
the day?
you will get. Ashok will clarify that.
Okay.
It's already recording in the drive, so you will get that.
Okay.
So any doubts in the sense, you can go for it. Quick doubts, you can go for it.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, integer means number. Then in percentage also number. Why will you write double?
Percentage is a number, but it contains decimal values, right? Okay. So this is a workout for you. You try to store 56.7 in an integer. Okay. And then you try to see the output, system.debug. You see what the output is. You will see the difference there.
Okay.
Okay. You try to store the 56.7 in an integer and you try to print that variable and you see what the output is. You will get an answer.
Okay.
Simply saying you cannot store decimal values in integer. So that's why we are going for a double. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone has any doubts in the sense, you can go for it. Otherwise, we will wind up here.
I have a question for you.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah, Lokesh.
If we have more than 20 variable, do I need to type system.debug 20 times?
Yeah.
Or is there any way to print in a single line itself?
Yeah, you can print in a single line. For that, you have to go for another building block called looping, right? So already I told these are all the building blocks of any programming language. So you are saying that you have whether I have to give same line again and again. At that point of time, you can go for looping statements. We will see that one by one in the classes, upcoming classes. Okay. So because a lot of beginners might be there, so I want to mess it up with them.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Nagaraj.
Yeah, please. Yeah, Sadish.
Yeah, MVC control. I just understand. It's
Yeah.
V is just a front end where you have the form and where you can enter your data, the view,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and the controller is what is the action? Let's say that if I click on the save button, the data will go into the databases. That is
Yeah.
object.
When you click the save button, automatically the data will not go. So it will be done by this controller through Apex.
Correct. Right. That is action. Like if save button will be clicked, but is action performed on the data, right?
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
controller.
Yes. Yes.
Then the backend, it's the objects where your data will get stored into the object form, right?
Yes, you are obviously right.
Object form. Here the question is, I don't know the background noise. Okay, fine. The objects is that will be stored in the databases. What databases Salesforce is using? Is it like a database or something different database? Or Salesforce has its own database?
Yeah, in Salesforce, generally we call it as we don't use the terminology called the database. Here we will be referring it as a object. Okay. So, but under the bottom layer, they might have used some kind of actually some database they might be using to store this. But from Salesforce user perspective, we call it as an objects. So all the data will be stored inside the objects.
Like that's what. So which database Salesforce is using? Is it a Oracle database or Salesforce has its own database?
Salesforce has its own database.
what is it like if something asked in the interview, like I should be able to answer, right? I mean, is there any name?
Yeah, Salesforce has its own database, but plenty of things, on top of they are using Oracle, they are using Java. Salesforce flows, those are implemented using, Java. They are using Java heavily.
Apex classes and objects will get stored in the databases, right? And also, how about the visual based forms? That whatever the front end design, that will be in the database, no, right? That will be somewhere in the
I think we can discuss this in the upcoming Q&A session. Okay.
Oh.
We will discuss this in the upcoming Q&A session. Today 9 o'clock we will have, right? So we will discuss technically deep there.
That's great.
So yeah, let's give the space for absolute beginners.
Sure.
Hi.
Yes, please finish.
Which primitive data type will be used for special characters? Means, say, for example, if we have $1,000 or 1,000 rupees, so in order to use that symbol or 95%,
generally there is a data type called in the objects. There is a data type called currency, right? So if that is the case, you can go for currency.
Okay, but
because if you try to concatenate these special characters, in the sense again it will become an integer. It will not no more integer, it will become a string, right? If that is the case, you have to go for some string dot value of or integer dot value of, you have to go for conversion. So it's better to use a currency field and you can store it there as a number.
Okay.
So you can practice the program given by me. So this is the program you have to practice. Try to print in these different ways. Okay, and we'll see you shortly around 8:30. We will see.
Okay. Nagarajan?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So Nagarajan, okay. So are you going to break from here, or you're going to take break from 8:30 to 9?
That's fine for me. 8:30 to 9 is fine for me.
Okay. So I hope we have completed with the explanation session. Hello. Yes. Okay, participants, if you anybody not comfortable in English, யாருக்காவது இங்கிலீஷ்ல கம்ஃபர்டபிளா இல்லைன்னா உங்களுக்கு கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா you can ask us. This is a question and answer session and this is a one-on-one question and answer. இப்ப எடுத்ததுல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு one-on-one டவுட் ஏதாவது இருக்கிற பட்சத்துல நீங்க நாகராஜன் கிட்ட கேட்கலாம். அவங்க ஒரு 8:30 வரைக்கும் அவைலபிளா இருப்பாங்க. 8:30 to 9:30 பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட் பிரேக் எடுத்துட்டு 9 o'clock வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா I will share you a different link. Those who want to join the question and answer session from 9 to 10, I'm going to share you a different link. You can join that session. You can practice this. If you have any questions, right, and the trainer will be available from 9 to 10. I will be sharing a different link. In that link, you can join and clarify doubts. And if anybody have any queries, even Tamil கேட்கணும்னா கூட நீங்க என்ன பண்ணலாம், நாகராஜன் கிட்ட கேட்டு கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன் வாங்கிக்கலாம். இன்னொரு 15 minutes இருப்பாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் பிரேக் எடுத்துப்பாங்க. And those are non-Tamil background people, please don't mind. This is just to make others comfortable with their way of asking the questions. Even if you have the same query, right, you can raise your hand. We will explain them in Tamil, and for you, we will explain them in English as well. So that is, please don't hesitate everyone to ask any questions, because this particular training session we started for absolute beginners who and all hesitate to ask question, who and all hesitate to write program. To make yourself comfortable, we are doing this. Okay, வேற யாருக்காவது டவுட் இருந்தா கேட்கலாம். நீங்க ஒரு நெக்ஸ்ட் ஒரு 15 minutes அவைலபிளா இருப்பாங்க ட்ரைனர்.
சார், இப்ப இந்த செஷன் வந்து பிகினர் செஷன், இது வந்து ஃபுல்லா அபெக்ஸ் வரைக்கும் சொல்லி கொடுப்பீங்களா? அப்ப இல்லனா இது
answer to your question, we take this session Apex, Lightning Web Component, Integration, and I will share that curriculum in that group.
Okay. Apro, next question is like this will be like same timing every day, same timing?
ஆமாங்க, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in fact, out 7 to 8, the 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. the trainer will explain the concept. 8 a.m. to 8:30 we will have a dedicated question and answer session on top of the concept. 8:30 to 9 breakfast break. 9 to 10 live coding practice. So you can practice the coding, and if you have any doubts, right, you can check with the trainer then and there. So the trainer will be available till 10 o'clock.
Okay, and the live coding session you will be only doing whatever you thought that day, correct? அன்னைக்கு என்ன சொல்லி கொடுத்தீங்களோ
அந்த லைவ் கோடிங்கிறது நம்ம எதுவுமே சொல்லி தர போறது இல்ல. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு ஒரு அசைன்மெண்ட் கொடுத்திருக்காங்கல்ல, இதை நீங்க தான் லைவா கோட் பண்ண போறீங்க. அப்படி கோட் பண்ணும்போது டவுட் இருக்கு, பண்ண தெரியல, ஒரு எரர் வருதுன்னா இமிடியேட்டா ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்ணி என்ன பண்ணலாம், ட்ரைனர்ட்ட கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன் வாங்கிக்கலாம்.
Okay sir. Thank you sir.
Thank you. So we have next 15 minutes before we take a breakfast break, and if anybody have any questions you can ask the trainer. யாருக்காவது क्वेश्चन இருந்தா கேட்டு கிளாரிஃபை பண்ணிக்கங்க.
நாகராஜ்
yes please.
நாகராஜ் நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் क्वेश्चन கேட்டிருந்தேன். உங்களை ஒரு வாட்டி உங்க டெவலப்பர் தான் ஒரு வாட்டி ஓபன் பண்ணி.
Okay we'll do that. Yes please.
So இதுல வந்து இப்போ நமக்கு n number of log tabs இருக்குல மேல.
Yes.
ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம ஒரு ரீசெண்டா ஓப்பன் பண்ணிருக்க லாக் டேப்ல, ஸோ நம்ம ஒரு ஏதோ ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்றோம். லைக் நம்ம ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட்ல ஏதோ ஒரு அக்கௌண்ட் ஆப்ஜெக்ட்ல சம்திங் ஏதோ டீடைல்ஸ் ஃபில் பண்றோம், சேவ் பண்றோம், எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்றோம். ஸோ பை மிஸ்டேக் நான் அந்த டேப் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன். மீன்ஸ் என்டர் எபெக்ஸ் கோட் இன்டு அனானிமஸ் பிளாக் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன். ஸோ எனக்கு வந்து அந்த ப்ரீவியஸ் லாக்ல உள்ள அந்த அனானிமஸ் பிளாக் ஓபன் பண்ணணும்னா எப்படி? அதுதான் எனக்கு.
ஸோ இப்போ கீழே பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா இந்த லாக்ல கீழே உங்களுக்கு ஒரு லிஸ்ட் வருது இல்லையா? So you have to try with these logs.
Okay, அது டபுள் டேப் பண்ணா நமக்கு அந்த
let's say எனக்கு இப்போ விண்டோல இது தெரிஞ்சிட்டு இருக்குது இல்லையா? சோ நான் இப்போ வந்து 758 கோர்ல ஒன்னு ரன் பண்ணிருக்க ஒரு process, அத நான் டபுள் கிளிக் பண்றேன், எனக்கு இமிடியேட்டா அது ஓபன் ஆயிடுச்சு.
ஓகே, அந்த ஓகே
மேபி அந்த கோட நான் அனானிமஸ் விண்டோல நான் கிளியர் பண்ணிருந்திருக்கலாம், பட் ஸ்டில் from here I can able to see this.
எனக்கு இன்னொரு வாட்டி இப்போ இருக்கிறத க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டு ஒரு வாட்டி ஓபன் பண்ணிடுறேன். எனக்கு கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆச்சு.
நான் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன்.
ஓகேங்களா?
சோ இப்போ இது தெரிஞ்சிட்டு இருக்குது. நேம் இஸ்
அனானிமஸ் விண்டோ அப்படியே இருக்கு ஓபன்ல.
அனானிமஸ் விண்டோவா? தட்ஸ் ஓகே ஃபைன். இப்போ நான் டபுள் கிளிக் பண்றேன். I can able to see this. Okay.
Okay.
You can go for a debug only. See here previous output என்னால பார்க்க முடியும்.
ஓகே, அவுட்புட் பாக்குறீங்க. இதோட அனானிமஸ் பிளாக் ஓபன் பண்ணனும்னா எங்க டேப் பண்ணீங்க?
அனானிமஸ் விண்டோ அப்படிங்கிறது, இந்த அனானிமஸ் விண்டோ உங்களுக்கு டெவலப்பர் கன்சோல்ல ஒரு வாட்டி தான் நீங்க இத ஓபன் பண்ண முடியும்.
ஓகே, அது இப்போ நீங்க எங்க டேப் பண்ணீங்க? உங்களோட மவுஸ் நான் பார்க்கல.
ஓகே, பாருங்க நான் இத க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன். சோ டீபக்ல போய் ஓபன் நான் என்ன பண்ணேன் அப்படினா ஷார்ட்கட் யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன். கண்ட்ரோல் E யூஸ் பண்ணேன் கீபோர்ட்ல. சோ இமிடியேட்டா எனக்கு விண்டோல வந்துடுச்சு. ஓகே, சோ தட்ஸ் a thing.
ஓகே.
சோ அது எனக்கு பிராக்டீஸ் ஆனதுனால நான் அத ட்ரை பண்ணிட்டேன். சோ ஆக்சுவலி ஓபன் எக்ஸிக்யூட் அனானிமஸ் விண்டோ கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா வரும்.
Okay.
If you go for a shortcut, in the sense you will not see any mouse right over here. If you press Control E, automatically it will be popped up in your screen.
So இப்போ நான் வந்து if I'm going for first log tab, so if I tap over there and if I press Control E, then I could able to see that particular anonymous block.
Oh no, don't refer it with the code which you had written previously. That's not the case. So நீங்க previously என்ன எழுதுனீங்களோ அது ஓபன் ஆகாது. கரண்டா நீங்க அனானிமஸ் விண்டோல என்ன எழுதிருக்கீங்களோ அதை தான் பார்க்க முடியும். இங்க நீங்க லாக்ல பாக்குறது previous எக்ஸிக்யூட் ஆன process. ஓகே, இங்க நீங்க பாக்குறது கரண்டா இருக்கிற கோட். இப்போ நீங்க இந்த லைனை டெலீட் பண்ணிடுறீங்க. இந்த லைனை டெலீட் பண்ணிட்டு நீங்க இத க்ளோஸ் பண்றீங்கன்னு வெச்சுக்கங்க. அகைன் நீங்க ஓபன் பண்ணும்போது அந்த லைன்ஸ் உங்களுக்கு இருக்காது.
ஓகே. இது ஓகே, தேங்க்ஸ்.
So anyone has any queries, you can go for it. So MBC, someone is asking about MBC. If you want me to discuss more on that, you can come up with your queries.
Force.com எதுக்கு சார்? அது டேட்டாபேஸ் அது என்னதுன்னு புரியல.
Force.com அப்படிங்கிறது அதுதான் Salesforce ஓட பிளாட்ஃபார்ம். ஓகே, சோ நீங்க பாக்குறீங்க இல்லையா, Salesforce யூஸ் பண்றீங்க இல்லையா, Salesforce.com login.salesforce.com, இது எல்லாமே build on top of Force.com. Force.com அப்படிங்கிறது தான் உங்களோட cloud, basic cloud. So everything is built on top of that.
Okay.
If you are interested to learn Salesforce, visit AJ Skill Development website. There you can find our course curriculum and you can come to know about the list of courses we are offering. We are offering Salesforce Administrator and Salesforce Development courses. To know about us and the team, you can visit our About Us section. This is an organization we are doing Salesforce training from 2018 and we have trained and guided 2000 plus candidates so far. And if you also want to know about our placement assistance, visit our placement assistance section where you can find the list of people and the category. You can see the list of people who got trained and placed from our side. You can also visit their LinkedIn pages to get to know about our training and also the feedback from the relevant trainees. Okay, and also if you want to do the course inquiry, click on contact us. You will see the form.
You can fill the form and submit the inquiry. Our team will get back to us. Thank you.